Casio has just released another StepCounter watch, the model number WS B1000. Inside the box we get a watch, then also your manual, warranty card and a tag for this watch. So this watch has actually got quite a lot of functions here. And this watch also links with your phone, where you can see your step count history and many more stuff. And you can see the specifications of this watch here if you pause the video. And the battery on this watch will last you for 2 years. And we do get fairly interesting design of this Casio watch. So we got 2 buttons on this side and 1 metal button on this side, but also a plastic button on this side, which we can use to cycle through different options and menus basically. And also you get the 5th button here, which you can use for other functions as well. So you can see it has these metal screws here at the top. I think they're probably fake ones, but yeah. And the buckle here is like black and with a black keeper as well. As the buckle is all plastic, and this is what the back looks like. It has got 10 bars of water resistance. Also the protection of the screen seems decent, as all these black bars are actually raised above that screen, so it won't scratch as easily. Compared to other Casio watches, these metal buttons are actually kinda hard to press. For example, I have a similar step counter tracker watch here, again with a bit smaller buttons, and they're very easy to press. On this one it's actually fairly hard to press them, and also the edges are a bit sharp on these buttons. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of these buttons. This button here, however, presses very easily and it's very pleasant to the touch. These ones could be made better, I guess. And this button over here, I would say also is pretty good. And this is what the watch looks like on my wrist. I do have fairly small wrists, but still it fits me perfectly fine. As you can see, there are actually plenty of adjustments, so it will really fit any person. So yeah, I think it actually looks pretty good. Also, I would say the strap also feels very decent and very comfortable. And overall the visibility of the screen also is very good. I would say it's actually a pretty good looking watch indeed. And overall the strap of this watch also seems very good. And at the first glance I would say this watch also appears to be very well made, and it should be actually fairly durable. Probably just as durable as more expensive G-Shock watches. Yeah, no problems there really. And this is what the backlight looks like on it. As you can see, it illuminates pretty much the whole screen, and it's actually very visible, and I would say it's excellent actually. Okay, and let's check out the functions of this watch. So we can cycle through different modes, basically pressing this mode button. And again, this button actually feels very good. The other buttons, I'm not a huge fan of them. So first is obviously a stopwatch, and we can start it. Also reset it like this. And also we can record various laps here as well. Then when we move further, we can actually see all our stopwatch recordings. So I haven't used this watch for a very long time, but obviously as you start using it and actually recording it, all your stopwatch recordings will appear here. And the next function is a timer basically. So it's a basic timer. We can adjust it pressing this button, and we can cycle up or down with this button. So again, this button has got multiple different functions. And yeah, it's a very good system actually, and I really like the timer on this watch, and it's very intuitive and very easy to actually use. So thumbs up. Then the next function is our dual time. And in this mode, basically, we can see our second time zone that you can again adjust very simply. You do not have to literally like change any time zones or enter any cities. You can simply change the time to whatever you really need. Then the next function is alarms. So I think this watch has got how many alarms? Okay, 5 different alarms. And also this hourly chime as well. So 5 different alarms, that's mighty cool. And when it comes to the functions, that's pretty much it. Then when we are in this main watch face mode, when we press this button, we can actually see our daily step counts. So you can see I have already walked with it today over 6,000 steps. And also at the top here you can see your hourly progress basically of how many steps you have taken for that hour. I think it goes to maximum 1000 steps, but I'm not sure. But anyway, once you reach 1000 steps for that hour, I think the bar will fill up. Then when we are actually in our time mode, we can also press this lower button and this watch will automatically sync the time with your watch, so you always will have the perfect time. Okay, and let's check out the app of this watch. So it does have got a pretty good app here, so you can also pretty much set your alarms, timers here. You can see your stopwatch here as well. You have to connect it, so I do that by holding this. It will say connect. Okay, as you see, it's pairing with it. And if you want to change these settings, you really have to connect with it first. By the way, it also syncs the steps from time to time itself with the watch, but if you want to change any of these settings, you have to basically press this and sync it first. So as you can see, you can set your alarms, different timers here. You can adjust your wall time zones, so you can select from which ones you want or search for a city. Then also you can this phone finder, so you can actually find your phone with this watch as well if you press and hold this lower button here. Okay, then once we close this and go to the My page, you can actually check your stats here. So for example, you can see how many steps you have taken for the day and how much energy you have burned. So I would take this energy burned really with a huge grain of salt. Also you can see your like hourly activity, how many steps you did in the hour, and also energy burned. Again, I wouldn't really look at that energy, it's probably off. And you can also see your week overview here as well. And also you can see your months here as well. So you can actually track your steps fairly decently. And also this watch can actually record like your location sometimes as well, where you have been. So but it can't really track GPS exercise, just record your location once. So I'm not sure what purpose of this is. While the app isn't probably the most advanced one, you can still see pretty much the main stuff here. So really the step counts and the history over the week and months basically. So what else you really need, and you can also quickly change the time here as well from the app. And again, it updates the time automatically with your watch, so you always have the perfect time on it. Okay, and let's talk about the most important feature of this watch, the step counter, and if it's actually any good. So if you maybe have watched my other videos on these older Casio step counter watches, then I have already warned you just how terrible they are. And basically if you wear it and simply move your arm, it will count pretty much any arm movement as a step, so it adds crazy amounts of steps. These watches overcount by roughly 55%, so they're extremely inaccurate. However, I can see that this watch is actually improved after wearing both of them today. So you can see this has recorded 8000 steps, while this one 6400 steps, and this is obviously way more accurate. And when I simply wear it and try to fool it, it can't be that easily fooled. Still, I think it still records quite a lot of steps that really aren't steps. So again, if you simply wear your watch and do something else, but you're not walking, it will still record some steps. And overall, I think this watch still overcounts by maybe 20%, but I really need more tests to confirm this. So but compared to like Samsung or Apple Watch, this again overcounts a bit, maybe 20%. And overall, I would say the step counter accuracy of this watch is comparable maybe to Fitbit watches. Those also overcount quite a bit. For example, if this watch says you have walked 10,000 steps today, in reality it might only be 8 or 9,000 steps. So again, it's providing more steps than you actually take, so that's something to consider. Overall, from my first test, I can see that this is improved indeed over the older Casio step counter watches, but still it's not the most accurate. And if you want the most accurate trackers, really maybe get a Samsung Galaxy watch or one of the Huawei watches. But really we also have to consider just how low end the technology is inside in this watch, and this watch literally lasts for 2 years on a single battery. So Samsung or Apple watches literally last you only 1 or 2 days. So, and they do a lot of background processing and they consume a lot of power. This again lasts 2 years. For this technology, I think the StepCounter is excellent and really good. Also, one more great thing about this watch is that it doesn't really have a negative display, but a positive display that's actually very good and has got very good visibility. If you actually want another Casio StepCounter watch that's actually accurate, these other ones are not accurate. Do not purchase them, they're absolutely terrible. So if you want another watch that can literally last for 2 years, your only option really is something from the G-Shock range if you actually want half decent step count tracker. However, pretty much all those G-Shock watches have negative displays and they're absolutely terrible. Well, maybe the GBD 200 displays isn't very terrible to see, but still the display is extremely slow on that watch. As you can see on this is extremely fast. On those negative display watches that are the memory in pixel displays, you literally get 1 second delay between the presses. So actually this watch is way better than any of those G-Shock watches that again even cost like 2 or 3 times more than this watch. By the way, when it comes to the price, I paid around 50 euros for this watch. So while obviously it's not the cheapest Casio watch, I think for the features you get and actually the good screen and also the easy menu that works super fast, I think it's a steal actually, because again if you want a G-Shock watch it will literally cost you 2 or 3 times more, and really the durability of the G-Shocks aren't really better and the build quality of the modern G-Shocks again aren't really better. I have tested quite a lot of the G-Shocks with the step counters on my channel if you want to check it out. Overall, I would say this is really, in durability, is pretty much the same as a G-Shock, just with a better screen. Again, on those G-Shocks, they do not really offer the like regular positive display ones, only the negative ones, so I don't know why. And overall, yeah, I really think this is absolutely great watch. Again, if you maybe look at some of the G-Shock step count trackers, they include a bunch of useless features that don't really work, such as notifications that don't work, also a bunch of other useless stuff. And most of them actually do not have good timer. This has got good simple timer, so really again it's probably a bit more expensive than other Casio watches, but I think it's well worth it. The step counter is decent build quality, and yeah, the screen is good, so what else you really need? So great job Casio.